Next man up, 102.5 The Game. It is a TD Thursday. Jake Lyman, joined by ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Turron Davenport, live in studio. Parker Kelly at the controls. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. TD, what's going on?
What's going on, man? It's a beautiful day. Got a good workout this morning, and man, I'm feeling good. What's up with my quarterback back there?
I also got a good workout in this morning.
You go.
I guess I'm the only one who didn't.
Hit my second leg day of the week. My legs are not going to be kind to me tomorrow.
Oh, man, that's what's up. I got a good shadow boxing in, man. Oh,
maybe
Jake!
I might have to go get a workout in after the show then.
Yeah,
got to keep up with you guys.
That's right.
TD, before we get into football, what's going on with your Mets? Pete Alonso going to the Orioles.
Listen, 5 years, $155 million. Look, it's not my money, but I wouldn't have spent that money on Alonso.
Especially you're paying Juan Soto that much, or paying Frankie Lindor that much.
More importantly, and this isn't one of those situations where it's like you try to get a girl's phone number and she rejects you and you say,
I never
you're not
wanted
pretty
anyway.
No, I would love to have had him still with my Mets, but not at those terms, because in the long term, like on the third or fourth or fifth year of that contract, you're going to be like, yo, that was a bad deal.
That's a lot of baseball contracts. It's like you sign these guys to these crazy long, crazy expensive deals, and it's really you're just looking to get 2 good seasons out of them, and then you just kind of roll out the rest of the contract at that point. But yeah, Pete Alonso going to the Orioles. Interesting move. I mean, Baltimore with that young core, I guess, trying to keep up with the rest of the AL East. And then Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers. The Dodgers they get everybody. They do. And we were texting yesterday. The rumors coming out of winter meetings are not good for the baseball world, that apparently the most intriguing package put in front of the Tigers for Tarek Skubal was from the LA Dodgers.
Well, look, and apparently they're working on the contract. If that contract is worked out, they'll do it. Now, here's the deal. If the Dodgers get Skubal, just go ahead and lock it out.
Yep.
Lock it out.
Say goodbye to baseball in 2027.
Yeah, it's a lockout. But the Diaz deal, man, he was upset that they signed Devin Williams, but it's like, Edwin, getting Devin Williams is going to prevent you from having 6-out saves.
Right.
Relax. It's okay. And then they offered him $66 million. He left for $69. Like, what the crap?
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. I called my ticket rep and I say, about that plan to move over closer to the bullpen. We ain't doing it.
Maybe you put somebody worth it in the bullpen.
No,
I'll be over there.
No, you took away the narco celebration. I'm done. I'm good right where I'm at.
No more Timmy trumpets. TD doesn't want to.
You know what? I just thought about that. Nemo is not going to be right in front of me anymore either.
Right.
All right. Close the laptop up. I'm gonna jump out the window. No, I'm just kidding,
we only got
man.
3 minutes out of TD talking Mets today. I mean, there's a long way to go in the offseason, and the baseball offseason is so different than every other one. Like basketball, football, hockey, like free agency opens in those sports, and immediately all the big deals come down.
Yeah.
Baseball, it's long. It draws out. Like Alex Bregman didn't sign until like 2 days before free agency, before spring training last year. So still a long way to go. Both our teams waiting on some moves here. The Tigers did bring back Kyle Finnegan, which I thought was a good move. They traded for him at the deadline last year and brought him back. So at least there's something. On to football. The Titans finally get a win. I said it to Corey yesterday. We've been doing these shows for like 4 months now. This is only the second time we've gotten to talk about a win. 31-29. Titans almost gave it away at the end there. If it wasn't for one of the strangest 2-point conversion play calls I've ever seen, we might have gone to overtime in that game, but the Titans do come out on top 31-29. They have their first win since week 5 against Arizona.
You know what, man? Kevin Stefanski in there said, listen, I you know the saying, don't let my confidence threaten your insecurity. That's what's going on in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And if Kevin Stefanski would just stop and just say, you know what? I'm going to let him go ahead and do him because he is going to execute and make me look good.
Yeah.
Why do you take that man out of the – come on.
I was stunned because you saw in the TV broadcast, Shedeur Sanders kind of points at like, you talking to me?
You want me off?
You want me off the field? And then they come out in the Wildcat and just completely botch whatever reverse play. It looked like it was some variation of the Philly special that they were trying to run, a little like flip back, and he was going to throw it into the end zone. But it was completely messed up. Quinshon Judkins didn't toss it back, ends up being a loss or incomplete. And the Titans end up escaping with the victory there. You look at the quarterbacks, and of course that is the focal point of that matchup. You got two rookies. They've been compared to each other pretty much since the end of last college football season, if not earlier. And I got to say, I was impressed by Shedeur Sanders.
I was impressed by Shedeur Sanders. And I mean, there's no secret. That was
you like
the
Shedeur.
guy that I liked quarterback wise, just a little bit more than Cam Ward. And I'll say this, and I like Cam. Like, let's not get it twisted. Now, Shedeur threw that game away. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? He threw the game away. That was a very dumb, ill-advised throw. In the middle, you can't do that. Not in the middle of the field. You just
and
throw it up an alley-oop.
They were up 17-14 at that point.
Yes.
So they're up in the game, second half, and all you got to do is just kind of maintain. The Titans offense had done nothing since the third drive of the game at that point. And he just lobs it up middle of the field. Xavier Woods gets the pick. A couple plays later, Tony Pollard gets in from 35 yards out.
I believe it was the next play. In fact,
was it the very next play?
It may have been the very next. But either way, house call quickly, and Tony Pollard, he did his thing. But there were some good throws by Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, for sure.
And Chris Sanders, no relation. And we talked about it on Talking with TD. Just the art of being able to place the ball at a spot where the receiver, he's coming out his break, and he accelerates to this. And Parker, about this, right? Making it so your receiver can accelerate through the catch, the placement of that route, the pass on that route to Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, you don't want to leave it short ever.
Yeah.
To make him come back to the ball or stop his momentum, you want to lead him. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. You want him to run. And that's something that I used to love with Ryan Tannehill, man.
Right.
They run that play action strike route. You know what I mean?
AJ Brown. Yeah.
AJ Brown, and he'll just run right through and take off. You'd be like, man.
Yeah, I can think of two very specific examples from AJ's rookie season. The week 1 against the Browns, he caught it, he had like 3 catches for 100 yards in that game.
Yeah.
And then the Falcons game, Marcus Mariota's last good game as a Titans quarterback, he hit AJ, and AJ just exploded through the ball and ran to the end zone. I guess both of those throws came from Marcus Mariota, not Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, that's an art.
But Tannehill was great at it too. And you're mentioning the Jerry Jeudy touchdown. Like that was a great throw with anticipation, threw it into the window. The other throws that stood out to me from Shedeur, the first touchdown to David Njoku. Wrong read, but you can't defend a perfect throw.
Because Howard Fannin was like.
Harold Fannon's standing like just no one within 10 yards of him because Amani Hooker followed David Njoku, and they throw it into double coverage. But again, you can't defend a perfect throw.
Njoku went up and made a play, man.
And then the one to Harold Fannin down the sideline where Shedeur got popped when he let it go and dropped it right in the bucket.
He couldn't have stood over top of him and dropped it to him prettier than that throw, man. Like that was, you're right.
No, I got to say, like when Shedeur Sanders came in midway through that Ravens game and looked as bad as he did, I understood it was with no reps with the ones and he was thrown in there unexpectedly, but I was kind of like, I mean, I don't think it's going to look very good from Shedeur the rest of this year. And he has completely proven me wrong. He has come out and put together some good starts.
And this has happened despite, this guy comes off the field and is on the sideline. The head coach doesn't even go and talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
It kind of feels like the writing's on the wall with Kevin Stefanski.
Well, it should be.
I think he's probably done.
I don't care if you like the quarterback or not. There's something called being professional.
Right.
And a part of being professional as a head coach, you're supposed to be a quarterback guru, a pass game expert. Talk to your darn quarterback. Man.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous, man. If I ownership, and I'm rarely one to say do this. If I'm ownership and I saw that, I say, man, get him out, fire him. That's what I'd have fired him after that. Well, that is ridiculous.
The Shedeur Sanders pick, I think, was an ownership pick. It was like, hey, he keeps sliding. Let's just take him and see what happens. Now that he's playing pretty well, I think there's going to be some ownership decisions in there too. And Kevin Stefanski's been a name that's been associated with the Titans. If he was to be let go, would that be a name here? Jim Schwartz has also been a name here. And it's like, hey, those two guys just lost to this Titans team. Are
Well,
you sure you want to bring them in? I do like Jim Schwartz.
oh,
I like Jim Schwartz. And
we're gonna stop for a second.
I'm just saying, if you give up 31 points to this offense, maybe that's not something you're going to be able to sell the fan base on.
Yeah, no, you probably won't be able to sell them too well on that. But I tell you what, though, you look at the larger body of work.
For sure.
You know what I mean? But Stefanski, Amy, don't you do it. Chad, Mike, don't do it. Don't do it.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you have thoughts, you can text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Your chance to talk to TD is always at 10 a.m. on Thursdays, so make sure you get some questions in for TD. Again, can be Titans-related, life, Mets, whatever you want. You can get those in. Again, 615-737-1025. We talk about Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward on the other side. It wasn't a great game for him. Good moments, but again, it was inconsistent. We'll talk about Cam Ward and some of his post-game comments after the game as well. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly, off and running on this Thursday morning. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. That was Cam Ward after the game on Sunday. Cam, 14 of 28, just over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, and the 1 interception. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. That has been the story this week with Cam Ward, has been the reaction after the game from Cam. Titans get the win, first time in nearly 2 months. And is that me? There we go. It happens once a show, whether it's me or someone else.
You know what? That was my tablet. I thought I turned it down, and sure enough,
I thought that was me.
No, sometimes
I didn't know what it was.
I was looking down too, and I was like, "Oh, am I unmuted?" Anyway, Cam Ward, was not pleased with his performance after the game, and has those comments of winning covers up some things. We have to be able to evaluate what we did and still come out better next week. What were your thoughts on the Cam Ward comments, where he was clearly not thrilled with the way he played despite winning the football game?
I have no issue with it whatsoever. And, there's a standard that some people hold, right? And I respect the fact that Cam Ward's like 2 wins in 14 games.
Right.
13, however many games it's been.
We don't need to throw a party.
Don't need to throw a party. And here's the thing, Jake, that kills me is people loved that from Mike Vrabel. The same fan base loved it from Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
This same select media corps loved it from Mike Vrabel. Why is it a problem with Cam not throwing a party at, Jar over there on Belcourt after they won? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And then, the one where I could see, like, okay, you know what? You did need to win, though, family. You needed
right.
to win.
When it was asked, did you need this win? He's like, I don't need to win.
That was the one where it's like, okay, you cut up a little bit with that.
Yeah.
But there's a level of competition that and a standard, again, that you hold yourself to. Unfortunately, there may not be a lot of other people who hold themselves to that standard if they have a problem with that. You know what I mean? And I think the ability, and I tried to give my alley-oop. Like, I tried to Chris Paul yesterday. Like, when I asked him, I said, is any of this just you trying to be even keel?
Yeah.
I
listened
losing.
to that. Yeah. When it was like, are you just trying to, not get too high, not get too low? And
yeah.
No.
And it's like, it probably would have been good to say yes to that question. But nevertheless, I think that's really what it is. He's even keel. He's never too high, never too low. And that's not a bad trick. Tom Brady, we talked about it. Connor and I talked about it on Talking with TD, right? Kobe Bryant, what did they say to Kobe, right? When they won the first 2 games, what did Kobe say? You know what he said,
Job
right?
Finished?
Job's not finished. What did Marcus Peters?
What's there to be happy about?
What's there to be happy about? And listen, I'm not saying so stop typing. I'm not saying that Kobe and Cam are the same. I'm not saying that. They're not the same competitor.
Turron Davenport, quote, Cam Ward is Kobe Bryant. I can see it now.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is Kobe had that mindset. That's the Mamba mindset. And that's what a lot of these younger athletes strive to be like. Well, and that's it.
I think a good comparison, look back at the latest season of quarterback right here in Nashville with Joe Burrow sitting on the bench and Zach Taylor having to come over to him. And Joe Burrow clearly very unhappy with the way the team played. They won that game. Zach Taylor is saying what we've heard that some of the teammates were saying to Cam Ward of, hey, winning's hard in this league. Celebrate the wins. And Joe Burrow says, what's there to be happy about? We played horrible. Just because we won doesn't mean that we played well. Exactly. And I understand where Cam Ward's coming from. And I think you can make the comparison there of what Burrow said and what Ward said. But I also get the, you haven't won many games, and you got to at least have a little bit of happiness for the way that you were finally able to win a game. And maybe if the game ended differently, we would have seen a different Cam Ward up there. When it was 31-17, I think a lot of Titans fans felt good about, even though if you wanted the draft pick, a lot of Titans fans felt good about, man, we controlled this game. We won this game. We're up 2 scores late in the fourth quarter. And then you almost blow it. And it's like, man, we kind of backed our way into that win now. Maybe that's part of it too, is it didn't feel quite like a win because you just had to escape with a win instead of running through the finish line.
And that's what Jeff Simmons said I overheard. I was kind of standing on the outside of the scrum, and I overheard him say, like, it was a great win, but we really should have closed the door.
Yes.
Up by 2 touchdowns. We got to close the door. And he's right. And I know we're focused on Cam, but I got to mention Jeff. And
Shout out Jeff Simmons.
Good gracious. This dude was a one-man, not a one-man wrecking crew. He was wrecking shop.
After the offsides down near the goal line, when he threw the guard into Quinshon Judkins.
He threw the guard. And it's funny because I had just talked about that with him on Thursday because he had the little hump move that he put on the tackle the previous game. And he was talking about how he watched Reggie White. You know what I mean? So it was cool to see him do something similar to that again. But back to Cam, I think it's okay to not be fully, completely satisfied with a win.
Right.
I like being hungry and wanting more. I don't think that's a problem.
I think it's good to hold the team to a standard, and whatever the result ends up being on the scoreboard, don't change that standard, right? Like a win shouldn't change the way you feel about how you played, and a loss shouldn't change the way you feel about how you played. Sometimes, like the Seahawks game, they played pretty well against a good team. They just didn't quite have enough, and they were out-talented on the field. On Sunday against Cleveland, you controlled that game and almost gave it away. It's okay to be a little bit upset about that, but I do understand the idea of it is hard to win. They had gone almost 2 months without a win, and to be as solemn as Cam Ward was in his post-game press conference, I can see why there was a little bit of discord after that.
Yeah.
But Cam Ward on Sunday, there was a lot of good and a lot of bad. Right? There wasn't a whole lot of in between for Cam Ward on Sunday in that game. The 2 touchdown passes I thought were both great throws. I mean, hit his guy on the run with Elikiah Manor as he moved the pocket, and then the Chim DK throw zips it on the out route to DK for the touchdown. Both good throws. The Van Jefferson one that he dropped on the seam route, that was a great throw.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the interception, you have the missed ball to Chim DK, and again, we've talked about it all season with Cam Ward. It's just consistency. We see the flashes. We need to see more consistency from Cam.
Mm-hmm. 2 things. That touchdown. Did you see the route that Iron Manor? The little he stopped like he was blocking.
Yeah.
And then took off. And it's funny because those throws like that where the ball's in the air, man, it's tough. And I asked him about that, and he was like, yeah, I wasn't thinking anything. I was just trying to keep my mind blank so I can make the catch. But the one to Chim DK that was missed. Look, there's dual responsibility on that one. Cam has to be able to put a little bit more loft.
Give him a chance to go run under it.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you look, like DK he has to get out his route and he has to dig in and throw those hands a little bit later. So, because when you're running and looking for the ball, you don't want to run like this. You want to tuck and
run and then late hands. It was not a good throw. He missed him. Chim DK was open. And I said yesterday, I didn't realize how open Chim DK was until you saw the end zone view of,
man,
he
might still be running.
Right.
He could have ran back to Nashville.
That was a touchdown, and Cam Ward missed it. And that's what you need to see more consistency from him, being able to hit those open opportunities. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let's go to our phone lines. Adam from Portland has called in. Adam, thanks for calling. What you got for us today?
It seems like there's a collaborative like that already writes this kid off and hates him. And those are the people who are making a big deal about his press conference. And so, like, there's 50-50. It's not all of them. I'm in the same YouTube chats in a lot of these places, and a lot of them are fighting each other on there. Some of them call him Scam Ward, and the other one's going, he has nobody. And that's where I'm at. I'm like, he has nobody. So how are you going to judge him? Can you imagine Steve McNair in 95 being forced into the game and having, like, zero support? He would have looked just like this, and everybody would have wrote him off. If we had social media like that, they would have done the same thing to him. It's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes would have had Brian Callahan in this team, it would have been the worst player ever. You would have thought he sucks. He's wild. But he had Andy Reid, and he had a bunch of good players.
Adam, why Callahan got to catch it straight, man? Leave that man alone.
Every chance I get to talk about Callahan, it's going to be ugly, dude. Because I never liked his daddy anyway, dude. I thought in Oakland he was given a Super Bowl team. So no, they both suck. But no, my problem, man, is that Cam, I don't want him to get his confidence completely shattered before he even gets a chance to play with players, man. Like of course he's pissed. I would be mad too. I'd be mad at myself for missing plays, and people are still talking crazy about him. And he has zero support. Any good players he's had, they traded off. So that's where I'm at, TD. Like I'm frustrated for Cam Ward.
Yeah, no, as you should be. And it's funny because like the leader of the Cam Ward is a bus club. He has an altar in his house to Sam Darnold, right? And Sam Darnold had to marinate for
multiple times before.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
So it's like, why is your Lord and Savior Sam Darnold allowed to matriculate through the NFL process, but Cam Ward has to be good year one?
No, it's a very loud minority that is calling for Cam Ward to not be the quarterback next year. I mean, I've seen people saying just draft Mendoza at the top of the draft, and I will
came together.
I will continue to say that Cam Ward is a better prospect than Fernando Mendoza. Like Cam Ward coming out of Miami, better prospect than Fernando Mendoza coming out of Indiana.
Imagine Mendoza giving that speech like he did post game, and Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat and Arden Key in the locker room. Imagine that.
I like Fernando Mendoza,
him.
but like Cam Ward, I said this to Corey yesterday. Cam Ward wins the Heisman this year. If he had his season this year, he had 4,300 yards and 39 touchdowns. Like the only reason he didn't win the Heisman is because he had Hunter and Genty, who both had historic seasons. So Cam Ward was a better prospect coming out. You got to give him some time. And it doesn't help that you've got this weird Poly Market account last week saying the Titans haven't ruled out drafting a quarterback in April with no source whatsoever. But of course that gets picked up and goes viral and everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Cam Ward is the quarterback next year. It is completely guaranteed. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We see you on the phone lines. We will get to you coming up next, continuing to talk Titans. And again, your chance to ask whatever you want for TD coming up at 10 a.m. So get your questions in on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Chase and Big Joe will be broadcasting live at the all-new Circus Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall this Monday prior to the Monday Night Football game. This week's matchup is the Dolphins and the Steelers. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. We got loaded phone lines. Let's go to them right now. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Trey has called in. Trey, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Good morning, guys.
What's up, Trey?
Hey, what's up, TD? Hey, I'm listening to the show, right? And then y'all was like, Cam Ward couldn't do this, Cam Ward couldn't do that. And y'all know I was on the anti-Cam Ward train for a long time. And, I just feel like that, I don't know how he's progressing, TD. You know more of that than I do. But how is the ball now? Is it a better ball? Is it more accurate ball? Is it, just floating out there? Because for me, I'd rather win by 3 than lose by 20. I'd rather get beat by 20 than lose by 1 or 2. So the win to me is kind of, it makes me feel a lot better about the situation. I think that we can go into San Francisco and sneak out a win if we play like a group, a complete group, and as long as special teams do whatever they need to do, you know what I'm saying? The defense is looking well, but if Cam Ward ain't doing well, then I would want to know, and y'all let me know, T, is he doing well or what?
I'm not going to say he's doing well. I dare not say that, at least this game. Now, a few other games, yes, but this past game, no, he didn't play well. He missed some throws. He made some good throws, though. Like, we're not going to, not acknowledge that. But as far as anyone saying Cam couldn't do this or couldn't do that, that wasn't this show. Look, he has to.
Do you think we have a chance of winning on Sunday?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. After seeing how that offense was able to play against that Browns defense, yes, there's a chance. There's a chance. Okay. Anything is possible. And you know how it goes, man. Like, these are a collective group of guys that get paid to play this game. So everybody's talented and everybody can have one of their days.
Exactly.
But Cam has got
millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
Because they're generating millions of dollars too. So it's deservingly so. But I think, to answer your question about Cam improving, I think he has improved in different ways. And the way he's improved, and he kind of showed it in this last game, it was almost out of necessity, getting the ball out quick and making that decision. And that's something that we're seeing continuously over the last 3 weeks is the decisiveness. So that would be something that he's improved upon. Is it enough? No, it's not. He has to get better. That's the bottom line. He has to get better. It's too early to call him a bust, and it's too early to call him, a franchise quarterback. He's a potential. Yeah, he's not the savior of this franchise yet. You know what I mean? Okay. I can't say that.
No. Thank you for the call, Trey.
Thank y'all. Love you.
Much love.
No, and that's where we have stood pretty much all season with Cam Ward. And the people who are saying he can do no wrong and nothing is Cam's fault are on one end, and you've got the people saying bench Cam Ward, draft Fernando Mendoza. He's not the guy on the other end.
Yeah,
it's always somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
Cam Ward is not a bust yet, but he's also not the surefire franchise quarterback yet. He has to prove one way or the other which way he's going to go, and he's going to get time to do that.
And here's the thing. Like, he's shown both. Like, he's shown there's some times where you're like, yo, you better get it together. But then other times you're like, hey, man, that was a good throw. And this is an example. You know what I mean? So it's both. Real quick on the chat, though, Brian Y. Oakley, he said Pollard looked like the new Honda Accord on Sunday.
He did.
The 2023. Yeah, I'll give him a 2022 model.
How about Tony Pollard on Sunday? 65 yard. I loved your tweet. He had his get somewhere shoes on. That was not the kind of breakaway speed I thought Tony Pollard had anymore. He got that 65-yard touchdown, career high in rushing for Tony Pollard.
Career high.
Well,
most rushing yards since 2022.
Hey, did you watch the post game victory speech from Mike McCoy in the locker room?
Yeah. What's
the first part where he says most rushing yards since 2022, and you can just hear an oh my God,
Yeah.
in the background. And it sounds exactly like Trey. And I can't get that out of my mind that Trey was in the locker room somewhere. Oh my God. Let's go back to the phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jeremiah has been waiting patiently. Jeremiah, thanks for calling. Good morning.
Thank you. I want the best, man. I'd like to meet Kim, man, and let him know, man, that it will change for him. The best analogy I can get, y'all got to hear this, man. In 1978, Christmas of 78, I met a cop at UT Martin who used to go to school with Bob Seger in Michigan. And I asked him, I said, man, what was it like? Because, man, I've always loved Bob Seger. Hell, he's one of the kings of the classic rock of the 70s. And he said, man, everybody in school hated him and picked on him because he had long hair and a beard. Nobody liked him. He had no friends. And Bob Seger turned out to blow it out when it came to music. And he's one of the kings of the classic rock of the 70s. Hey, Kim Ward might be having a hard time right now, but you can never tell, man. The genie might pop plumb out of his butt next season and make Patrick Mahomes look like Rosie O'Donnell. You know what I mean?
I know what
they
you
gotta
mean.
give that brother a chance, man. Shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
You're all right. Jeremiah, good brother. One more thing. What did Bob Seger do?
We had to drop him.
Oh, okay. Damn.
That's the second time that's happened like the last week where somebody is not intentionally, made us use the dump button.
Hey, listen, it's all good, man. It's all good. He just listen. That's the passion that this city has for their team.
That is true. That is true. That one,
Sorry.
I know the immediate sorry was great. Let's go back to our phone lines and check in with Daniel. Daniel, keep it clean this time. Daniel, what you got?
There's kids listening, Daniel.
I will keep it clean, guys. Thank you so much for taking my call. I was just listening to it. You guys have some interesting points, but unfortunately, we have some very illogical Titan fans. Look, it's Cam Ward isn't the guy yet, but he's also not the guy yet. Like these people got to understand. Our fans have to understand. Yeah, they see Jalen. Oh man, I forgot his name. Dude in Washington. You know what I mean?
Jaden Daniels. Yeah,
Jaden Daniels. You see C.J. Stroud come out, and they have these great rookie years, but then they regress, and they have arguably both regressed. And this is my thing too. It's not. And again, all respect for the professionals in the building at the Titans. Ford is throwing to arguably some guys that won't make practice squads on other teams.
Ooh.
That's just a fact. It is what it is. Now, DK coming up and Io Manor, I love those guys, but they're rookies too. Mm-hmm. Some of them we don't have. They are going to struggle to be a number 2 on most any other NFL team in this point in their career. And we're asking Cam Ward to come into a franchise that has no history of developing a quarterback. And then that article comes out where he says he has an attitude. Well, I tell you what, guys, I'm glad my quarterback has an attitude.
Thank you.
I'm glad that he's coming in there saying, look, man, y'all think that because we won against the Browns, because we finally had 3 turnovers and scored 17 points, that we done something? We ain't done a dang thing. Not nothing yet. And if you got a good taste in your mouth about beating a team by 2 points, that we should have been running out the building, or not necessarily running out the building, but that's not going to cut it. I don't want my quarterback to be average. And he doesn't think that way. And because of that, people are saying some bad things about him inside the building, or maybe not inside the building, but he shouldn't have an attitude. Why? You want us to accept losing? You want us to accept, it's just like you said, man. I think you said in one of his interviews that them winning masked a lot of things. That wasn't necessarily a good game. And we're talking about him having an attitude. Look, man, 2-11 ain't going to get it done. And so I'm just saying to all the illogical Titan fans out there, I'm not saying Cam's a dude. Cam is not above reproach. There's throws that he's got to make. But you're asking him to do this on basically a JV NFL team. Let's give him some time and let my dude do what he can do. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you doing all what you do, and thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Daniel. I think it's a nuanced take from Daniel, and we're missing way too much of that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. Parker, pass the basket around. We got to put our donations in. He was preaching, man. You hear me? It's like I'm at church, like, tell him again. Show him
Pass
right.
the plate around.
Pass it
the
around.
plate around.
Pass it around. But no, he made a great point. And see, this is the thing. And I know Ray Lewis is probably not the best guy to bring up here in Nashville, but he had a saying, I'm pissed off for greatness. And yeah, it's understandable the win, you put it in perspective, but the bigger picture is that's not good enough.
Yeah.
To get where you want to go. Right. And so it's something like you stack it on the way, but it's not like you're not at the floor you want to be at. You can't get off at that point. You want to keep going.
No, and I think that's a great point of the goal isn't to go 2-11, right? For Cam Ward, like this win does not get him and this team where they eventually want to go. This team wants to go compete for Super Bowls, and they're very far away from that right now. But I do appreciate Cam Ward saying, "Hey, we won, but we didn't play our best football, especially down the stretch." 615-737-1025. Great stuff on the phone line so far. If you want to text or call, our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And again, your chance to talk to TD is coming up at 10 o'clock, so get your questions in. There's a good text on the text line. We'll get to it coming up next. A good point about the upcoming draft and what the Titans maybe could do, should do. We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Looking for a good spot to watch NFL games this Sunday? We'll come by Twin Peaks in Madison, home of the 29-degree beer, and join 102.5 The Game for the pregame show before the Titans take on the 49ers. The pregame show is brought to you by Tennessee Brewworks and Circa Sportsbook, Kentucky. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly, alongside you on this Thursday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Let's go to our text line. I thought there was a good thought here from 7410, and he says, if Mendoza was Joe Burrow 100%, you draft him and trade Ward. He's clearly not, so you hire a good coach and start building around him. And I think that is a very good point for all these people saying move on from Cam and draft another quarterback. I would agree if there was a can't-miss, surefire number one. If Andrew Luck was coming out in this draft, that's one of those guys, if you get the number one pick, if you are not 100% convicted that your guy is a franchise quarterback after his rookie season, you pull in Arizona Cardinals and you trade him and you draft the Andrew Luck of the class. But there isn't that guy. As I said earlier, I think Fernando Mendoza is a worse prospect coming out than Cam Ward. And you don't start over when you've already used the number one pick on a quarterback. The best way to do it is build around that quarterback that you've already taken with the resources that you can get from having a high draft pick. But I do agree with the texter, if it's Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, one of these guys who has been talked about as a can't-miss, surefire prospect for years, and you aren't 100% sure on your quarterback, then sure, yeah, you do make that pick. But there isn't that guy in this class, and there's nobody really even close to that guy in this class.
Yeah, you don't hit the now you're expanding the instant turnover to the quarterback position, right? First it was the head coach, then the GM, and now the quarterback. Hey, the three most important things in your organization, just keep turning it over.
Yeah,
come on, man.
You'll have in 3 years, you would have, or I guess 4 years. In a 4-year span, you would have 3 different GMs, 3 different head coaches, and 3 different quarterbacks. And if you include Malik Willis in there, 4 different quarterbacks, because you took him in the 3rd round too. So you would be just completely resetting for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
And Cam Ward, he needs time. He needs a coach who's going to develop him, right? Like that is the biggest thing, is finding a coach who can come in and fix some of the stuff that Cam Ward doesn't do well. There's some mechanical things that I think need to be tweaked with Cam Ward. And I think the good news is, like you said, I think he's starting to see it better, right? I think the ball's coming out quicker. He's being more decisive. That's an important development throughout his rookie season. But I agree, there are some mechanical things they probably need to fix, whether that's arm angle, footwork. And I think just giving him more options around him is going to be crucial. If you can go draft a wide receiver early and sign a veteran guy in free agency, that's going to give Cam Ward a whole lot more options when he comes back for year 2.
Absolutely. And that's really to your point. I mean, you're preaching about this, is you have something in place, build around it. That's all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why go and look for something that you don't know? It just doesn't make sense.
And Mike Borgonzi, if he didn't feel convicted on Cam Ward, he wouldn't have taken him. You don't tie yourself to a quarterback that you don't feel 100% about. And does that mean Cam Ward's going to be a franchise quarterback? Absolutely not. But Mike Borgonzi, he's not getting fired, right? Like Amy Adams-Strunk, I think, realizes that she can't fire Mike Borgonzi after 1 year, and he hasn't done anything to deserve being fired. Like his draft class looks pretty good. The free agent signings he's made have been solid at this point. Like he tied himself to Cam Ward, and he is going to do everything he can to build around Cam Ward this offseason.
It's real simple, man. So it's checkers, not chess, man. Like this isn't something where he's done so poorly that it's like, hey, you gotta reset. You got it. No, I mean he's shown enough signs to say, okay, you know what? This is a guy that I think can lead this group.
Right. I think Cam Ward this season, there's a lot of similarities to Will Levis's first season. And Levis had the 4-touchdown game that inflates his stats a lot. But you look back at his rookie season, outside of the Falcons game and the Dolphins game, there were a lot of struggles for him. Like it was not perfect from Will Levis, but you saw the flashes enough to say, let's build around this guy and give him a chance in year 2. Will Levis didn't take advantage of it in year 2. Cam Ward's going to get an opportunity. And if we're having this exact same conversation a year from now in December, that's when you start thinking about moving on from him, right?
Yeah.
Like, rookie quarterbacks don't get a full rookie contract anymore to prove that they're the guy. You don't get 4 years. You don't even get 3. You get 2 to prove that you can be the guy moving forward. Cam Ward, it hasn't been great this season, but he's going to get all of next year to prove that he can be the guy.
And, I think when you look at this, Will Levis is a good example to look at, but I'll say this, and no slight on Levis. Cam Ward is built from a different cloth. Like, here, mentally, they're different.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think that's going to go a long way for Ward.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Today, between noon and 3 p.m., Chase and Big Joe will have your chance to win a $100 Moments Peace Salon and Day Spa gift card, and you can qualify to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card. It's the 12 Days of Christmas on 1025 The Game. Hour number 1 wrapping up here on the program. When we come back, 10 a.m. on a Thursday means it's your chance to talk to TD. You can text or call if you have questions. This can be Titans related, can be Christmas related. We're in the holiday season. It can be Mets related, although we've already talked some baseball this morning. Whatever you want, get them in for TD. You can text or call at 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly, alongside you on this Thursday morning. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Second hour on this TD Thursday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly with you on this Thursday. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. It is your chance to talk to TD. So any questions you have for Turron Davenport, you can get those in on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Let's start by going to our phone lines. Ed from Jersey has called in. Ed, thanks for calling. What you got today?
Hey, good morning, fellas. And if this was covered earlier, I apologize because I missed part of the show. But TD, thank you for asking the question to McCoy that was bugging me, and you pretty much asked it word for word what was in my head. What did Cam Ward say that compelled him to actually be a topic in his meeting with Cam Ward? I mean, to me, and maybe this is my overreaction to an overreaction in the first place, but look, if everything I see Cam Ward do, and I'm not a Cam Ward apologist, man, he's got plenty of things to work on the field, but everything I see him speak at that podium is what I want out of a franchise quarterback. He is raising the bar. Let him raise the bar. I mean, why would a head coach feel the need to talk to him about that winning isn't good enough if we didn't play well enough? There's a standard that he's trying to hold himself to and the team. And might it speak to the fact that he's got a higher bar than the head coach, McCoy, or even previously what Callahan had? I mean, is there that much of a culture problem in the locker room? And maybe there's sort of a changing of the guard between the old players and the new players. I just wanted to get your thoughts, and if that's an overreaction. But to me, boy, it sure speaks of that.
Yeah, no, that's a great call, Ed, and Jersey in the house, man. I loved it. Love to see it. Look, man, it's exactly what Ed said. It's an effort to raise the bar, right? You got to – he's different, from what you had before. Like, this guy is going to speak out. He's outspoken. He's going to make it very clear when he's not happy with something, but he's also going to speak life into – this guy said that receiving group. And much respect to all of them, from Mason Kinsey to Van Jefferson to Calvin Ridley and the rookies.
Even Treylon Burks, top 5 receiver in the NFL.
He said that group was a top 5 group. He said he wants to make Brian Callahan the best coach, and he speaks life into things. Yeah. And I'm a very, very, very firm believer in speaking and believing positivity and manifesting it. And that's all the man is doing.
Yeah, and it's a very different vibe from a year ago when Will Levis is making it rain on Calvin Ridley when the team is 3-13 heading into the final week of the season. So, I like it, Cam Ward. I think it's perfect what Ed said. He is raising the bar. Let him raise the bar. Mm-hmm. And I can understand why Mike McCoy wanted to have a talk with him about his comments, just to say, like, hey, I understand it.
Be careful.
Right. Be careful what you say, because this isn't the first time Cam Ward has said something that has drawn headlines, right? We asked. That was all over national news for weeks. So it is Cam Ward. He is unfiltered when he goes up there, and he's going to speak his mind. I think there's a right way to do it, and I don't think he's doing it the wrong way. But I think Mike McCoy, it was right. It was be careful. Just there's some things that might rub others the wrong way in the locker room.
Mm-hmm. And then, members of we as media, we can at times extrapolate one part of a statement and
take it out of context.
It gives a whole different context than what was intended. So you have to be careful. So I understand McCoy talking to him about that. But look, I have no problem with the comments.
Yeah.
Again, raise the bar.
Joey from Bellevue on the text line asked, he says, yesterday on Silly Underdog Picks on DVD, Chris told D-Mace, you said he looks like Papa Smurf. That's a new one.
That beard, man.
You're getting creative on was that on Run TMC?
No, it was after Run TMC. He was like, yeah, I'm about to go on there with Silly Underdogs. I said, hey, man, tell the boy D-Mace he look like Papa Smurf.
That is hilarious. And he also asked, we talked about this to lead the show. He wants to know your take on Alonso leaving the Mets.
Yeah, well, look, hate to see it happen, honestly, but under these, it's understandable. 5 years, $155 million. Honestly, I tried to prepare myself for this with how they approached the free agency with him last year, and I just wish it would have happened before he broke Strawberry's franchise record.
That's true, because now he's in the record books.
Now he's in the record books. But no, I mean, it's the Orioles. They overpaid. They got it. But when you're a franchise like that, you have to do that.
Right.
And now it's just like Stephen Cohen. Yeah. Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
I want to see him in the Mets uniform.
He is the prize on the free agent market. Yeah. Kyle Schwarber's going back to the Phillies. Pete Alonso to the Orioles. Alex Bregman's still out there, but the biggest bat on the market left is Kyle Tucker.
And he plays outfield, which is exactly what they,
Right.
Like I said, I'm not going to be able to look down and see Finding Nemo anymore, man.
Is it Cody Bellinger that you think might be a Met too? I think I saw that yesterday.
I think it's Bellinger or Tucker, frankly.
Right.
And then they're going to have to get a pitcher. Have you seen this Japanese guy? I'm not going to try to do it. The
pitcher, I don't know. I know Murakami is the big bat that's coming over from Japan.
The third baseman.
Yes.
But there's a pitcher. He's throwing like 97, 98. But forget how fast he throws. You know what he said? I would love nothing more than to take down the Dodgers.
Right. I heard that yesterday, that the players coming over from Japan, it's no longer, well, we just want to go to the Dodgers. It's like, all right, I'm tired of the Dodgers. Let's go somewhere else. So
come on. Hey, Citi Field is a nice place to be. I promise you. Ask Cody Senga.
615-737-1025. Let's go back to our phone lines. Daniel is on the line. Daniel, thanks for calling. What do you have for TD?
Yeah, man, I just called in. I wanted to go round two. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Come on back.
I heard what that caller said, and he's talking about a cultural problem. I was just thinking of it this way. I understand, Cam has to maybe be, more, I guess, politically correct in his approach there. But I can tell you this. If there's a player in that locker room that's got a problem with what Cam Ward said, really with what anything he said this year, I want him off that team. The standard needs to be changed. The standard, we won. We won 2 games this year, one being of which against the Cardinals with the most flukiest plays I've ever seen in my entire life. Number 2, we beat a Browns team who is our, contemporary, which, by the way, has a lot more weapons than Cam Ward does. Nobody's talking about that. But I digress. But and another thing, of course, Cam's going to be pissed. These guys are playing with basically a substitute teacher as a coach, right? They're having fun. They've booked their trips to Cabo after week 8. Cam Ward sees that. And anybody's got a problem with him saying we got to raise the bar. Hey, we won, but it's masked a lot of things, or paraphrasing, of course. Get them off the team, man. And that's the thing, TD, when you go in there, man, you give such great questions and interviews, but it's you couldn't tell that was a 2-11 team. They're partying, they're yelling, they're laughing, they're cutting up. None of those guys care right now. And Cam sees that. And when you got a guy who's a dog and has won everywhere he's been, like, that's not going to cut it. But, also, I got a question for you, TD. Has anybody in the building told Cam Ward that his best passing game was also his best rushing game? And why are they not asking him to do more of that, or letting him do more of that, or call that? Like, how do they not see the correlation if some fat, big, Monday morning quarterback like I am, how do they not see that? How do they not see that? Thank you, guys.
No, another great call.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Daniel.
Here's the thing. That is something that they've recognized. And it is something that I know Mike McCoy has talked to him about. And I tell you, last week, a lot of man coverage. This week, a lot of man coverage against the 40. They mix it up, but, I mean, there's a good amount of man coverage. That's why I asked Cam yesterday about seeing that cover one and looking to have more shots to run with the ball. Because, I mean, look, man, the quarterback's back there, the corner, his back, he's running with the receiver.
Yeah.
So linebacker, they're not going to shadow Cam Ward.
Right.
So the linebacker is going to be in coverage too. So you're going to have opportunities to run. That is something that I think they're aware of. I know Mike McCoy has talked to him about it.
Yeah, and that was something coming out of the bye week. Mike McCoy made a point to say in his first press conference after the bye, that's something they talked about. Be more willing to run. That doesn't mean you're looking to run, but when you have the opportunities and they're giving you 6, 7, 8 yards, take it. Take it. Don't always be looking to run to throw the football.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to run the football.
Run, yeah.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Again, it is your chance to talk to TD, so get your questions in. You can text or call on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Join Chase and Big Joe today from noon to 3 at the Dunkin' located at 1040 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Nashville. Stop by with a stuffed toy and donate it to a child this holiday season. 1025 The Game has teamed up with Nashville Children's Alliance to give all these awesome stuffed toys donated by you just for stopping by. You'll be qualified for a 4-pack of tickets in the all-inclusive 501 Club at Bridgestone Arena to a Preds home game. A special thanks to the Metro Nashville Police Department, the Catalano Group, the Bluemont Group, Family Leisure, Thompson Machinery, Richmar Florist, Right Time HVAC, and Relodyne. For more information and a list of Dunkin' locations that you can donate a stuffed toy, visit thegamenashville.com/toy. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. This Sunday, the NFL game of the week is the Vikings and the Cowboys at 7:20 p.m. on 102.5 The Game. The NFL game of the week is presented by Circa Sportsbook Kentucky and Macero in 12 South. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Little crossover here. Parker's been mixing in the Christmas music this week. It's been good. He's been fitting the themes while still getting a little holiday music mixed in there.
A little doggy dog Christmas.
It is your chance to talk to TD. One more segment here, and let's go back to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Dan is on the line wanting to talk to TD. Dan, what you got for us today?
Hi. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
A comment about Cam Ward, and I'm kind of neither for or against Cam. He's a young player. We understand that, and has potential that should be pretty high. And what bothers me a little bit about Cam, he's been playing football for, 14 or 15 years. And what I expect of him is to be able to hit those basic passes, the shorter passes. And it appears to me sometimes he misses these people by 6 or 7 feet. And that's without a rush. And I don't know what happens to him. I'm doing that. But my concern is that that's something that should be coached out of him some time ago, and he doesn't seem to be improving greatly on that area. The really long passes that are just tremendously difficult to do, those take a long time. But I'd like to see him do those basic things consistently instead of every now and then. It's kind of like a professional golfer hitting a 3-foot putt. Mm-hmm. And I admire what he says, but I'm going to judge him by what he does. And if he wants to be a leader, it's got to be on the field, and he's got to be consistent. And for what he's paid and where he came out, I'd like to have him start doing that much more quickly than I've seen this year. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, Dan. I think it's a good point that Cam Ward, yes, he's shown flashes of hitting some throws that a lot of guys can't make, but I think you're also seeing him miss a lot of throws that everybody should be able to make.
Yeah. And that's the important part. And that's, I think, where the elevation is going to come, hitting those layups.
Yep.
Right. And you hit those layups and you get that degree of confidence.
The completion percentage goes up. The yards per attempt goes up.
The rhythm of the offense gets better. And now more guys
ahead of the
get
chains.
touches. Exactly. All those great things.
Right.
So Dan is 100% right. He has to hit the layups, the easy throws, and that all builds into something bigger. As far as it being I don't think it's something that you just got to be able to do it. Right. I think that's really the bottom line is he has to discipline himself to, and we've talked about it before, going big hunting, right?
Yes.
Sometimes, go ahead and grab the little game and eat that. You know what I mean?
I think he's done a better job of going to the checkdowns, but the passes to the checkdowns have not been quite as accurate. Like there was a pass to Chimdike on Sunday where it was kind of a screen pass or a little like swing route out to the outside. And if he puts it on his left shoulder, Chim can turn upfield and he might have had a block. Instead, he had to spin back to his right shoulder. Mm-hmm. And at that point, he went right into a defender and you lose 3 yards. Those are the little things Cam Ward needs to be better at. Is you got to have a little bit of better ball placement and set your receivers up to make a play once you put it in their hands.
Yeah.
And some of that has not been great. Let's check in on the text line here. Again, your chance to talk to TD, 615-737-1025. 3337 says, TD, I know you can't try to lose, and I want to win every time I can, but do you think trying to win as many games as you can is a good thing or can hurt the team's future?
No, I think it's a good thing because you want to learn how to win. Like you want to, and this is something I asked Xavier Woods about, the momentum, the idea of building momentum from week to week, and then even building that into the off season. It's something that you think about while you're training. It's something that you naturally as human beings, like we push harder when we've seen the result, right? And so that's absolutely the way I approach it. Again, winning is important, and learning how to do it, developing that culture of winning. Like the only way you do that is by winning.
Right.
And I understand the draft pick aspect and 100% right. Yeah, for sure. But it's not like they're not going to have good bites of the apple. This team is going to have more than likely a top 5 pick. You know what I mean? Which means they're a top 5 pick in almost every round.
Yep.
So you're pretty good from there.
Titans could easily lose out, and if they lose out, they're guaranteed at worst to pick second because the Raiders and the Giants play each other in week 17. But you also look at these games. There's not a game that I look at and say they can't win it, right? Like the 49ers, I think, are 9-4, mostly as a benefit of the soft schedule they've played. The Chiefs are 6-7, and they play the Chargers this weekend, so easily could be 6-8 coming to Nashville and pretty much out of the playoff race. The Saints, of course, are right there with you towards the bottom of the league. And then the Jaguars, it's a division game. You didn't play well against them a couple weeks ago, but who knows what happens in week 18. So, yes, all of these games are winnable, but the odds are you're not going to win all of them or more than one of them. We'll see where the Titans end up at the end of the year. Let's go back to the phone lines. Teddy has called in. Teddy, thanks for calling. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Hey, what it do, Teddy?
What's going on, TD?
Hey,
so, yeah, man, just called in to talk about a few things about the whole thing with Cam Ward not really being happy and celebrating the win like it's Christmas like the other guys are doing. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm, seeing is what everybody's saying. He's trying to change the culture around here. This has not been the norm. Like, I seen this picture that was posted, and it's like everybody around him was kind of celebrating with their hands up, and he just had his hands down, just kind of looking at them, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I can, down the line, if we do things right, I can see that picture being like a real legendary moment. Like, man, you guys remember when he was trying to win more, and everybody was just complacent with what we were doing. So I think that what is happening is a culture change. He's trying to set the bar high for everybody to follow. This is what it's going to be like. This is what it's going. Did he play well? No, he did not play well the last game. Did Shador outplay him? 1,000% he did. But also he was playing from behind. When you play from behind, you get a lot of yards that, you probably wouldn't have got if you wasn't. So that's another thing too, man. So I think that's that. And I was saying this thing. Every week I keep seeing this quarterback grow some way, somehow. Even through it all. Like this last game was the first 2 TD passing games. That's a step. So let's see that, if you can build some momentum against the 49ers. And I think that's another reason why he's not getting too high on himself. Like, last time we won and we got too happy, we came back and played real flat. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's just keep our head down and keep, pursuing and keep trying to see what we can do. So that's that. And, that's it, man. You guys have a wonderful one.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Thanks
you,
for the call, Teddy.
He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. Steady improvement is what you want. And, again, to his point and to a few other callers' point, reset the bar, right? It's no small feat winning. Absolutely. But you want to win and you want to improve and you want to stack upon that win.
Yeah.
And the last time they won, remember Jeffrey Simmons after that Washington game, he said that felt like guys got drunk off the win.
Right.
Obviously not drunk literally, but drunk.
Right. It went to their head a little bit.
Yeah. So here it is. You got a rookie who is not sipping that wine from the win. And it's I don't know. Look, I don't think it should be an issue.
I mean, again, we bring it up almost every day. You have not won back-to-back games in over 3 years, like 50-something straight games.
November
you have not been able to win back-to-back games. I'm not saying they're going to do it this week because the 49ers are a talented team. They are a playoff team for a reason right now, but I don't think they're unbeatable. And let's see if the Titans can go in there and at least be competitive, right? We haven't seen a whole lot of consistency of the Titans playing back-to-back competitive games.
Right.
I think the Texans and the Seahawks games is really the first time we've seen that this year. They were in both of those games. Let's see if we can get it again coming up on Sunday against San Francisco. Speaking of that game, let's wrap up Talk to TD with this. 8566 on the text line asks, TD, with how sensitive the Titans defense, especially in special teams, was against Jacksonville and their taunting, how many penalties is Jawan Jennings going to draw on Sunday? That dude is a next-level trash talker.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Boy, this is one of those weeks where I would love to have seen Jarvis Brownlee Jr. still here.
Yeah, those two probably would be following each other around a little bit.
And yeah, maybe following each other to the bus outside. You know what I'm saying? Wow.
Yes, the Titans, they have not been very disciplined the last couple of weeks. I mean, you look at 3 personal fouls on those last 2 drives that allowed Cleveland to go down and nearly tie the game. They've got to be able to avoid those costly penalties that are giving up 15-yard chunks at a time. Let's actually finish up Talk to TD with one more call. Bob has called in on our phone lines. Bob, thanks for calling. What you got for TD?
Hey, yeah, I'm going to say basically the same thing the previous caller said. I'm exactly right with what Cam said. And, not to like to bring up Jared that much, but you remember Jared brought up that clip of Joe Burrow, who gets compared to Cam a lot, after they beat the Titans. And Burrow was pissed because he said, we played terrible. I don't care if we won, we played terrible. I think that's the point Cam was trying to make. He's like, we may have played good, but, if we didn't have that 14-point lead, we wouldn't have won. We didn't play well enough to do this consistently, and I don't think anybody needs to be ripping him for that. I think that's actually someone who's building the culture, like you said. But that's another thing that Cam did that Burrow did.
No, that's a good point. We talked about that earlier, that Joe Burrow, and thank you for the call, Bob, that Joe Burrow had the same reaction. Now, it wasn't in the press conference. He was doing it on the sideline, not in front of the cameras, but that it has to be the standard for some of these quarterbacks. You can't just be happy because you came out on the right end of the scoreboard. Yeah. There are always stuff to clean up. And with Joe Burrow, they're talking about him right now on ESPN. Very interesting press conference from him yesterday.
Yeah.
Kind of a somber feeling from him.
I don't know. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league, but it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, Charles Robinson was comparing it to Andrew Luck a little bit on Robbie and Rex Road today, of like not saying that that's going to happen, but it's like
I love watching
the injuries build up, and it's like, does that get to you mentally when you just continuously have to work your way back over and over? And this will be back-to-back years that they're going to miss the playoffs. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Appreciate everybody joining in for Talk to TD. Always great stuff from all of you. When we come back, the big news in the NFL this week is that Phillip Rivers is back in the NFL. Phillip Rivers joining the Colts practice squad. The Colts are now in a bind at quarterback, and that brings up the question, in this AFC South division, who is most set up for long-term success? Because the Colts just had their next 5 years at quarterback get taken away from them with one injury. We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game.
Okay. Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens, rice and stuffing, macaroni and cheese under the Christmas tree.
Parker's killing it today.
Yeah.
Mixing up the holiday music, keeping the vibe. We got a little TD karaoke going on.
TD sent me this song.
Oh, he did? Okay. Gotcha.
Christmas and Hollis, man. This is from back in the day, boy.
Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. The college football game of the week is Boise State and Washington in the LA Bowl this Saturday on 94.9 The Fan at 7 p.m. Coverage is presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky and is also available on the Game Nashville app at thegamenashville.com. That game right after the Heisman ceremony. We will see if Diego Pavia is able to take it home.
Man.
He deserves it.
I don't want to hear, we came together as a team, and that's why I wanted to trophy.
The Hoosiers are flipping champs.
I'm trying to hear Pavia go up there and say something to make me run through a wall, man. That's what I want to hear.
We will see. Saturday night, chance for Vanderbilt to get its first Heisman Trophy. We talked with Andrew Allegretta about the case for him, and it feels pretty obvious, but, 13-0 Indiana. He got the last statement. We'll see if Fernando Mendoza or Diego Pavia wins it.
And look, man, I'm joking about his presser or post-game. That dude is a monster. There's no taking away. That dude is a baller.
Likely the number one pick in the draft. So can't take anything away from him, but I think if you're looking at the overall body of work for both those guys, it should be Diego Pavia. But we will see. Big news in the NFL world this week. Phillip Rivers is back. After 5 years away from the game at 44 years old, the grandfather, Phillip Rivers, has joined the Colts practice squad. And this all stemming from Daniel Jones tearing his Achilles, which completely throws a wrench in the long-term plans of the Colts. The Colts made the Sauce Gardner trade, giving up 2 first-round picks, thinking that they had their quarterback for the next 5 years in Daniel Jones. Now, probably not. I mean, I don't know if you're going to extend a guy who just tore his Achilles. So my question for you, TD, is who is set up best for long-term success in this division? You've got the Colts, who right now are kind of in quarterback no man's land. You've got the Texans, who CJ Stroud has not looked bad this year, but has clearly taken a step back from his great start to his career. And then the Jaguars, who are leading the division, but I think there's still questions about what Trevor Lawrence is long-term. And, of course, the Titans here in Nashville trying to rebuild their way back around Cam Ward. Who do you think is set up best for long-term success?
Look, on the surface, you'll say the Jaguars, but, man, it's hard for me to not say the Texans.
I would say the Texans, too.
They got their quarterback, but more important, that defense?
Yeah.
That defense is ridiculous. And it's just a group of wig splitters, man.
Right.
Aziz Al-Shire was balling.
Yeah. That dude just flies around.
Yo.
He's, he'll get the dirty player accusations, and there are definitely some hits that come late, come high, come low, but he just flies around on the football field.
And, see, the thing that I like is that defense is stacked on all 3 levels.
Yeah.
They got one of the best corners in the game in Stingley. You know what I mean? And then, again, like I said,
Kamari Lassiter on the other side, Will Anderson.
Solid. You look at the front. I mean,
Danielle Hunter.
Come on, man.
Is Tim Settle?
Tim Settle's on that team. They got Derek Barnett that they could rotate in there. Yo, I loved him coming out of VTech, man. I
feel like I've told you this story before, that when he was a freshman, me and my dad went to the spring game, and my dad was pointing him out. It was like, hey, Tim Settle, he's only 18, but that's going to be the next big NFL thing out of Virginia Tech.
And he came out when he was 19?
Yeah, so he was young. And so we go down on the field after the spring game, and my dad has a game-worn Tyrod Taylor jersey that he won in an auction. And he was like, hey, Tim, I want you to sign this, because he was like, he thinks he's going to be an NFL player. Tim Settle starts signing it, and I guess he messed up, and he scribbles it out and then signs his name.
Oh, man. He's cutting up. But, but I mean, I think, and I like DeMeco Ryans as the coach. He just has to, keep a steady OC in there to help him out some. But I would say the Texans.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Texans, when you look overall at that roster, are set up the best. Now, the Jaguars, some of the big names that they had on that roster have obviously not had the years that they wanted them to. Brian Thomas Jr. looked like he was going to elevate into a top 10 receiver in the league, and that hasn't happened this year. Travis Hunter, you trade quarterback capital to go up and take him, and he's had his moments this year, but then he got hurt and he's out for the year. Who knows if he's going to be able to play both ways moving forward?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I believe that the Jaguars are going to be able to sustain the success that they're having right now.
Yeah.
Liam Cohen has surprised me. I did not think that he was going to come in and be able to turn this thing around as quickly as he did. But if I have to bet on D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud as a tandem versus Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence, I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans easily. But I do like what they're building in Jacksonville. I think if you compare the defenses, I think it's advantage Texans. And the Jaguars, they have to figure out this Brian Thomas situation.
Right.
Like, Brian Thomas Jr. is a very good player. Why did he regress so much? And they got to get that figured out.
Maybe one of the most disappointing players of this season, Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, there's been a few. I think Jaden Daniels would fall in that category with the injuries. But yeah, for Brian Thomas Jr., he was expected to be a star this year and jump into that elite wide receiver conversation, and it just hasn't happened. I will say this, and expecting if Indy Ben is listening or some of the other Colts fans, they're going to get mad at me. I think the Titans are better set up for long-term success than the Colts are right now. I think Chris Ballard has saved his job and completely botched it all in the span of about 7 months here. I think the Daniel Jones move was great to bring him in, and you've built around him, but you trade those 2 first-round picks, and then Daniel Jones tears his Achilles, and you have absolutely no way to get a franchise quarterback in that building in the next 2 years.
Yeah, he must have really thought that Daniel Jones was the franchise. Like, they must have had all intentions of extending him.
Right.
I don't know that I could stake my future on Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? You're right. I think he may have saved and sealed his fate.
I think the Colts will be fine for the next couple of years.
But who is quarterback?
Right. Richie from White House makes a good point. Kyler Murray, I think, is probably going to be their first call. I think the Cardinals will be ready to move on. And that's a guy that you could get without needing to get rid of a first-round pick. If you're going to eat that money.
That's a good one.
I think that one makes sense, but and I don't think the Titans are going to be 10-7 next year or something like that. But I think if you're looking 4 years down the road, based on where the franchises stand right now, I think I'd rather be in the Titans' shoes than the Colts.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, because you got your quarterback. They have to figure out the coach situation. The Titans do, but I just blurted out Justin Fields. I was thinking about the Jets, right? Because you got the Jets and the Cardinals. So they both need quarterbacks. That's just going to help this Titans.
Well, there are a lot of teams who I think could want to trade up for quarterbacks. When you look, and that's why the number 1 pick is so valuable this year, is even though there's not, I don't think Fernando Mendoza is a can't-miss quarterback. I compare it to 2016 with Goff and Wentz. Not your generational quarterbacks, but teams were willing to move up because they needed one.
And remember, there was, like you said, 2 trades.
Right.
1 and 2.
Well before the draft even started.
So if they don't get the Titans, if they don't get the number 1 pick and they had the number 2, hey, that's not a bad consolation prize, because guess what? You won a couple games, so you help get that taste in their mouth. And you're still in a situation where you could.
If Mendoza and Moore end up being big-time prospects that these teams want, you can trade out of 2. And you look through these teams that need quarterbacks. The Saints, the Jets, the Cardinals, and I will keep mentioning the Rams as a team that I think could trade up to take a quarterback this year and try and have somebody who can maybe play a year under Stafford and then take over.
The Rams are who I think the Titans are going to deal Will Levis to.
Really?
I believe that.
That's a good trade to make.
4th round pick.
And you're putting I had mentioned Levis as a Colts solution. I don't think the Titans would do that because you don't want, on the off chance Will Levis turns it around, you don't want to have to face him twice a year and have your fans yelling at you for it.
The Rams are ideal place.
I think the Rams would be a good move.
For a 4th, and you know that front office loves 4th round picks.
Yeah. Good point here from Caleb. Mac Jones will be a starter somewhere. Maybe that's a guy for the Colts because he has taken the Kyle Shanahan rehabilitation class over there in San Francisco, and maybe he ends up being the new guy there in Indy. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll wrap up hour number 2 on the other side. Still more to come with TD. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 the game. It's bowl season, and the Game Nashville Sports Network is your home for college football bowl games and the college football playoffs presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Saturday, catch the Celebration Bowl on 102.5 The Game as SC State takes on Prairie View at 11 a.m. For a list of games carried on the Game Nashville Sports Network, visit thegamenashville.com/bowl games. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly, wrapping up hour number 2 on this Thursday.
That's my part. Sorry. Let it snow. Yeah.
TD breaking out the
I knew
singing
this would get a
voice
good
today.
reaction.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll hold a note now.
You did. You hit that note.
Hey, what they say? I'm Luther Vandross in the shower.
Is that a little falsetto from Turron there?
A little something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A little something. I sing to my girl sometimes,
I don't mind singing too. I'll sing in the shower every once in a while.
You know what I mean?
I've sung on the air once or twice, if we get the right song in there. TD, while we're talking about kind of the NFL quarterback cycle, one name has been brought up a lot this week because of a very poor performance on Monday. And I know you're very connected in Philly. Jalen Hurts.
Terrible.
It's been bad this season.
Very.
And 5 turnovers on Monday night against the Chargers. I will say 2 of those happened on one play. He threw a pick. It was fumbled. He picked it up. He fumbled again, and the Chargers took over. So with Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni was asked about benching Jalen Hurts, and they can't do that, right? Like, he won a Super Bowl MVP less than a year ago. Within this calendar year, Jalen Hurts was the Super Bowl MVP for the Eagles, and they're paying him a whole lot of money. They're not going to bench him, but it clearly has not been good enough for Jalen Hurts, despite the team having 8 wins this season.
Yeah, it hasn't been good enough. He has to play better. The turnovers have spiked this year, not just in that game, but just overall this year. I think the offense is just completely out of rhythm. But you also look at schematically, like somebody else need to get in there because that Fisher-Price scheme that they got going on there it's not working. And when you have a guy like A.J. Brown and you're not – let me correct myself. I'm gonna say you're not forcing him the ball. You're not feeding him the ball and dictating the flow of the game to go through him. It's a problem. But then also, for whatever reason, they're not running the ball well.
Yeah, Saquon has taken a step back, and part of that maybe is the scheme. Some of it maybe is Lane Johnson has been out.
Yeah.
Or when you run for 2,000 yards, you're not going to repeat that the next year.
Do it. Unless your name is Derrick Henry.
Right. Derrick Henry has been the only guy who has run for 2,000 yards and seemingly kept up a similar production.
Yeah, he would have ran for 2K if he didn't get injured that year, man.
Right.
Oh.
Right. I mean, that foot injury that he had against the Colts was tough. And the Titans still getting the 1 seed and him being able to come back.
Still should have played Deontay Foreman more.
Deontay Foreman, that was a great year. It is interesting looking at Jalen Hurts' stats for the last few years. Looking back 2 years ago, he turned the ball over 19 times, 15 picks, 4 lost fumbles. This year, he's only turned it over 8. So maybe we're overreacting to one bad game.
It's the timeliness.
But right,
what I mean?
he has hurt the team at times, and it just the production hasn't quite been there. Which, that year in 2013, he threw for 23 touchdowns and ran for 15. It's like you can kind of excuse some of the turnovers. This year, 19 touchdowns through the air, 8 on the ground. Still okay numbers, but just not quite as productive as he's been in the past.
Crazy enough, he and Josh Allen, like these guys are on pace to where they could challenge the rushing touchdown record.
Right.
Over now we're talking about over a long period of time.
Yeah.
But look, he has to play better. I just think collectively they have to play better, but guys got to play better for him too. AJ has to come through on some of those connections where there are opportunities. They got to find a way to get Devontae Smith involved more. Goddard is still a solid player. There's so many weapons on Jahan Dotson. I mean, it goes on and on. They just have to. That offense to me is where the biggest problem is, and unfortunately. Kevin Petula,
yeah.
They went to his house and vandalized his house. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah, you
keep it in
can't do
perspective.
that.
This is a game, but he does have to do a better job. I think they need to move on and look for someone else in there.
Yeah, and it is interesting. You look at the quarterbacks being paid the most in the league, like $45 million or more, and you're not getting what you're paying for the most part. And we know this. It's not who's best, it's who's next. But here are some of the guys getting paid over $45 million. Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson are both getting paid that, and they're in a kind of a tier of their own where you're not playing. Kirk Cousins has been playing, but Kyler Murray's getting 46. You've got Brock Purdy getting 53. Tua's getting 53. For some reason, there's Jalen Hurts, 51. Justin Herbert, 52. Trevor Lawrence, 55. Like Dak Prescott's getting 60. It's like I get it. That's what you have to pay to keep these guys. And you're always worried about what's behind door number 2, right?
Right.
It's like behind door number 1, you've got a quarterback who can get you 10 wins every year. Behind door number 2, you're either getting, you could find Patrick Mahomes or you could find, I don't know, Kenny Pickett. It's like, what are you going to find if you go away from this quarterback? And that's why all these guys get paid so much. It's just tough to justify spending a quarter of your cap space on a guy who's not elevating your team.
And that's the thing, the door number 1, what's behind door number 2 aspect when you talk about go for Mendoza while you have Cam Ward. You're still kind of peeking behind door number 1, right? At door number 2, you have no clue what you open it up to. At least in door 1, you got a taste, like you got an idea. So
that's where the Titans are right now. Behind door number 1, you have Cam Ward, you spent the first overall pick on. Behind door number 2, you kind of have door number 2 and door number 3. Door number 3, you get to keep Cam Ward and build around him, and you can get maybe an Arvell Reese, or you can trade back and take Jordan Tyson and Colton Hood or some of these other guys out there in the first round. And then door number 2, it's all right. Maybe you get what would you get for Cam Ward if you traded him today? Second round pick, maybe?
Probably.
Yeah. So Fernando Mendoza and a second round pick. It's like, I would much rather take door number 3 where you can add these star players that you need, whoever the quarterback is, right? If Cam Ward flames out after a year or 2, you still want to have a Reuben Bain or an Arvell Reese or a Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. You want those players no matter what.
But the bigger picture is having those players will help enhance the opportunity for the number 1 pick that you've already invested to do well. You know what I mean? And I think it's just go with what you got.
Yeah.
And just, develop that. But you mentioned Colton Hood. Don't be surprised if he has an announcement today.
Really?
Yeah. Don't be surprised. I'm pretty sure it's coming up soon, but
declaring
today,
for the draft.
I think today is going to be the day.
Yeah. I think we'll start to see a lot of those coming up in the near future as college football season wraps up.
You saw McCoy declared.
Yes. And he was projected first round pick. I don't know if he's still going to go there after missing all of this season, but we will see. Lots of talent in this draft. I know Mansour Delane is another cornerback at LSU who probably goes in the first round. Lots of edge rushers, lots of wide receivers. Titans, no matter where they're picking, we'll have some options. Richie from White House asks, who would you say is having a rougher year among the Super Bowl participants from last year? Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes? Man. Chiefs playoff hopes are on the margin. Eagles might still win the division and get into the playoffs, but obviously it's not looking great.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are having, because I
agree.
Chris Collinsworth sounded depressed. Like he's like, is this possibly the start of the ending?
Is Mahomes not making the playoffs?
Yeah, and so I would say the Chiefs. I'm not judging based off of his commentary, but just period. They look bad.
No, man. I agree. It's like every week you kind of think, oh, it's going to turn around. They're the Chiefs.
Right.
They're going to start stringing some wins together, and they're going to win the division, or they'll be in the playoffs. And they're starting to run out of time to start stringing together those wins. And they've got the Chargers coming to Arrowhead this weekend.
Perfect location for Calvin Ridley. Perfect.
I do agree with that.
Perfect
I think that's a marriage kind of made in heaven. If I don't know if you can trade him. I don't know if somebody would give anything up for him. But if they do end up letting him go, I think the Chiefs would be calling him pretty quickly. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll continue to take your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Hour number 3 coming up with Turron Davenport after this. Jake Lyman, TD, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership with the buzz is always about great service. TD does have to get over to Titans practice coming up in about 20 minutes. He's got to get out of here. So we're going to wrap things up with TD, one long segment here, talk a little bit about this 49ers game coming up and more on that game against the Browns, and then Parker and I will take you the rest of the way. TD, looking back at last week, I did want to highlight the offensive line. That's a tough matchup. Browns, second in the league in sacks, of course, almost half of those coming from Myles Garrett, who now has 20 on the season, but they really limited him. Only one sack. The second lowest pass rush win rate of his career in that game. The Titans not only had a good game plan for him, but I thought the tackles, they played better than I expected them to on Sunday.
Yeah, they did, and they played with some help too, and it was one of those things. Alec Ironman had a chip on Myles Garrett. That dude took off. He said, I'm not going to stay around for the consequences.
Yeah, that was really well done from Alec Ironman.
These are the things that you have to do, and I thought this was probably, just to be honest, this was probably the best executed game plan that I've seen from this Titans team over the last 2 years.
And I just saw this on Twitter, this from Sharm Sports. Titans left tackle Dan Moore over the last 3 games, no sacks allowed and 91 pass blocking snaps.
Yeah, I mean,
he's starting to figure it out.
There's been help.
Right.
But, I mean, look, that's what you want from your guy. You paid him to be able to protect your quarterback, and he's starting to do that better.
Yeah, and this offensive line, I think we talked about it last week. They need confidence, right? J.C. Latham especially needs confidence, and I would argue that yes, Cam Ward showing some signs of life and some signs of progress down the stretch is really important the rest of the way. But the most important player for the Titans the rest of this season might be J.C. Latham. Yeah. Just to get some confidence back up for him going into the offseason and to solidify for the Titans that we don't have a J.C. Latham problem heading into year 3 for him. Like that, it's really important that he is going to be the solution at right tackle for this team.
Right. And I mean, this is a guy that he had to flip positions. Like he was the left tackle. He was the cornerstone of the offensive line. And now it's flipping over to right. And look, I think Lane Johnson has shown that there's value. John Runyon at one point shown that there's value at right tackle. You know what I mean? And there's importance to the team.
100%.
Yeah, I would like to see J.C. Latham continue to turn the corner and be able to get his mind right. His body's right. There's no getting around that.
Yeah,
it's the mental part of it that he has to figure out and further distance himself from the hip injury.
Yeah, not going to see Nick Bosa this weekend, so won't get to see an elite pass rusher there. But I think the last game of the season, getting to run it back against Josh Hines-Allen, who ate his lunch a little bit, maybe not a little bit, a lot last week against the Titans. I think getting another chance at that, hopefully with some more confidence and a little bit more progression over the next couple of weeks will be important. But the offensive line, got to give them credit. The last couple of weeks, they've been better, especially in the run game, leading the way for Tony Pollard. And Corey Levin deserves some flowers as well for the way that he's played.
Yes, Corey Levin. And it's funny because I went up to him last week, during the week leading up to the game. And, I asked him about how well he played on that first drive. And he was like, man, I appreciate it. We just got to stick to the run. And they stuck to the run. And one thing that Corey Levin does, he gets to that second level. He's going to make some blocks. He's going to take out. And I think it was Nick Holtz had mentioned how he took out Schlesinger on one of those runs.
Yeah, it was it the second one? He kind of helped Skoronski with the double team to widen the hole and then came back and still knocked the linebacker and opened the hole for Pollard to get the edge.
Yeah, that's exactly the one. And I think when you have a guy doing those types of things, and I'm not going to say, hey, get Cushenberry out of there. I'm not going to say that. But when you have a guy doing those types of things, you feed off of it. And as a play caller, you're more confident in sticking to the run because you know that at some point it's going to pop, maybe not to the degree of how it popped for Arthur Smith and those Titans teams with
putting up almost 30 points per game,
but it's going to pop and you got to stick to it. And that was my whole point last week. it was there, and I get it. You're down 2 scores, but if you stick to the run, that's going to be your best way to go, at least with how it's going in that the flow of that game. And this is what you saw in the Browns one.
This matchup with the 49ers coming up, interesting, because it's a 9-4 team, but they're missing a lot of their key pieces.
Defensively.
Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Unlike last year, you don't have Talanoa Hufanga on the back end. Brandon Ayuk has missed this whole season. Now, still a lot of good players on this 49ers team, but this isn't a game that I go into and say, I think the Titans are 12-point underdogs. I don't know if this is a game that they're going to get beat that bad in.
Yeah, I don't know that they get beat that bad. I think this game is really going to come down to the safeties and linebackers against Christian McCaffrey. This is what we did on Whiteboard Wednesday. Kyle Shanahan has a really good way of getting McCaffrey in matchups that are favorable. And on the play that I drew up, they motion him. It's a lot like how the Dolphins used to motion Tyreek Hill, where they will send him so he'll
like orbit motion of
the little semi-orbit motion where they'll have him go and be number 2 or number 3 on the inside, and then motioning back out, sprinting out, and so you're getting a head start and then turning into and that's what they did on this one. They motioned McCaffrey from the backfield and he just ran a swing route and boom, they hit him. Those are the things that they do. The choice routes, they really, and he's marvelous at. As a matter of fact, Nick Wagner, who is an awesome reporter, ESPN NFL Nation 49ers reporter, I love. We got in the weeds a little bit. We geeked out a little bit, and he had went into our stats and information group, who they do an awesome job, and he was able to determine that Christian McCaffrey is the only running back in the league that they have run comeback routes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the reason why they do that is because, truth be told, McCaffrey could be a very good slot receiver if you wanted him to do that. Focus on that. So a lot of times, like, they'll have him choice routes, and he and Purdy are so much on the same page. And when you have that trust, oh, boom, he's outside, you throw inside. He's inside, you throw outside. Oh, you know what? If they're even, he's leaving, we're going to go deep on the scene. Like, there's so many different things that you could do with Christian McCaffrey. So he's the key. But then you mentioned Juwan Jennings earlier, and he's somebody, big receiver, back shoulder, red zone, he's a threat. George Kittle, the best blocking tight end in the league. But then on top of that, he's an angry runner.
Yes, he is.
Another one of those guys. He plays the game like rent is due. No, like rent is past due. You know what I mean? And so you like that. Trent Williams, like this team is stacked.
Yeah. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying the Titans are a better team than the 49ers. But this isn't a game where I look at it and say the Titans can't win. Have we proven that the Titans can lose to anybody? Of course. The Titans can lose any game they go out there and play. But this is one of those, if the Titans play like they have in 3 out of the 4 weeks since the bye week, Texans, Seahawks, Browns, they can be in this game late. Does that mean they're going to win it? No, but I'd like to see at least a competitive performance from this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, at this point, at least be competitive. Don't fly all the way out there and crap the bed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't do that.
It's a long flight to get, punched in the mouth. We'll see what they can do. I thought it was interesting yesterday. Corey Curtis brought up a stat about Christian McCaffrey, and I know he's used a ton in the receiving game, but on the ground, 3.6 yards per carry this year. He has 1 run of 20 or more yards. That's it for Christian McCaffrey this year.
That's amazing.
Which is surprising. And the Titans' run defense, I think, with a healthy Travondre Sweat and healthy Jeffrey Simmons, Cedric Gray, and I do want to make this point too while we're on the linebackers. The linebackers and safeties for the Titans are hitting some people.
They're hitting.
I mean, that hit from Amani Hooker on the goal line. Who was that against? It was the
I don't remember
the wide receiver.
He came down. He brought it.
It was Malachi.
Malachi
Corley.
Yeah. Corley stacked up. You know what I mean?
Former Western Kentucky guy.
Yeah. Another former Western Kentucky guy, Upton Stout, the small corner, very good player. Watch him. He's the nickel guy. But he rocked him. I tell you, he's not a safety or linebacker, but perfectly putting the helmet on the ball, Marcus Harris.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He good job there. So they're turning things around defensively, and there's a stat since the bye week, the Titans have the least amount of missed tackles.
Which that's surprising considering how bad they were early on in
terrible.
the year.
And you notice there haven't really been, for
knock
their
on
sake,
wood,
haven't really been too many home runs.
Yes.
In a while. And that's what happens when your angles get better and you tackle better.
You look back at the Jonathan Taylor Colts performance, like that was ridiculous. How many times they had him maybe not bottled up, but had a chance to tackle him in the open field and just could not get him down. So I agree with you. They've done a much better job of tackling.
So you mentioned Jonathan Taylor. We're talking about Christian McCaffrey. We'll add Bijan Robinson to this conversation. So Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Kevontae Turpin, right?
Yeah.
You know who's above all those guys?
Chim DK.
Hey, all-purpose yard.
Yeah.
Quietly, Chim DK is on pace for a top 10 all-time all-purpose season.
And he was on pace to break the record at one point, right?
Yeah.
If
top 10
I think Logan Cook hadn't tripped him.
Yeah. And
it didn't get called.
Didn't get called. I said, oh yeah. My bad. Heck out of here. Fourth all time.
Yeah.
He's on pace. I have a story coming out about this on Saturday, I believe. But fourth all time. Ninth all time in kickoff return yards.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, this dude is having a monumental season. I talked to him about it yesterday, and he's like, yeah, I'll think about that after the season. I'm like, come on, man. I need a quote, bro.
Can you just help me out a little here, Chip?
I love his modesty. You know what I mean? I love his courage. That's something that continues to come out just in people I talk to about him and how he approaches the kick return situation. Punts too is the courage,
I'm glad you brought up Chim because I can't believe we've gotten to this point in the show and haven't mentioned the Titans finally did it. They scored on their first drive of the game, all set up by that Chim DK kickoff return.
Did you hear James Williams' quote? Oh, yeah, first drive of the game. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they did that. They finally got a first drive touchdown. They can now join the circle with the other 31 overall teams of have you scored a touchdown on your first drive of the game. And they also got their first punt block since 2012.
Yes.
Did you hear James Williams' quote?
No.
All right. So, Tim Shaw, who we know he's wheelchair bound. Because of Lou Gehrig's disease.
He was the last one to block a punt.
Last one to block a punt. But he's involved in special teams meetings. And he's been working with James Williams Sr. consistently. James Williams is a wild dude, right? And so we're talking to him, and he was telling the tips, how the tips paid off. And Jim Wyatt was like, hey, so what do you think he's going to say when you guys go back and watch this? And James Williams, he got that big smile. You can't look at it and not smile back, man. Big smile. And he said, oh, man, he's going to be excited. Maybe so excited he might jump up out his chair. I said, now, James, come on, man.
Let's just dial it back a little bit here, James.
He said that we all just started cracking.
It was nice, though. But that is now 2 punt return touchdowns and a block punt. None of that had been done in 13 years. Unbelievable. Before we let TD go, let's go back to our phone lines one final time. Dustin from Hopkinsville is on the phone line. Dustin, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
TD took the name right out of my mouth. I was hitting the call button, and I was about to mention Marcus Harrison.
Yeah.
Buddy, people keep talking about our defense isn't that good. Shadur was throwing to this defense. Buddy, I'm sorry, but our defense is a lot better than people think. And, man, I've got a lot of faith in this team to have a winning season next season because of what Morganzi has done in this draft. I mean, when they traded Brownlee away, I'm like, what the hell are they thinking? And now I'm seeing they were just keeping it close to the cuff. And the man got a lot of penalties. I get it. And this kid doesn't. Let me read this off for you. Among all rookie cornerbacks, minimum 20% total snaps per PFF, 100 snaps in coverage, 11th most. Targeted 18 times, 3rd lowest. Allowed 8 receptions, tied for lowest. 44.4% of receptions when targeted, lowest. 74 yards allowed, lowest. 9.3 yards for reception, lowest. 30 yards after catch, fourth lowest. Longest reception was 17 yards. That was the lowest. I could just keep going on. But, guys, it is amazing what Borgonzi has done. And I've been chapping Amy ever since the first of the season, not so much lately, but she hired a dog. And I think we're about to see some greatness in Tennessee. And next season, I think in 5 games, we're either going to be 3-2 or 2-3. And are we winning because of Cam Ward or in spite of? Because let's be honest, a lot of these games, this damn defense has just been out there balling out, and for no dang good reason when you can't even get to the red zone until the fourth quarter half the time. So I'm really excited. This Marcus Harris dude, I know our corner is probably one of our worst spots, and then edge, but this defense looks pretty damn raw to me.
Thanks for the call, Dusty. Yeah, Marcus Harris has had a really nice rookie season.
He's played well, but we're not going to give all this praise and not recognize Denard Wilson.
Right.
We're not doing that on my watch.
Yeah.
Denard Wilson has really, really galvanized this team. And you talk to any of those defensive players, they'll tell you whether it's up front with the stunts that he's developing, whether he's talking attitude and eyes for the football into Cedric Gray, or pulling out the dog in Kevin Winston Jr. and Marcus Harris.
Yeah.
Denard Wilson is a guy that has to be praised in this whole process.
Yeah, and they set up that stunt for Jeffrey Simmons. They got him his sack pretty perfectly on Sunday against Cleveland. TD, appreciate you coming in. Know you got to get over there to practice, but always fun to have you on. Enjoy San Francisco.
Yeah, thank you, man. And hey, I think this is it till.
No, we got one more.
Okay, good.
We do have a show next Thursday, but then of course Christmas is on a Thursday, New Year's Day is on a Thursday. So we got one more next week. We'll have TD, and then after that, it'll be after the new year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Looking forward to
enjoy
it.
Your dick.
We still got a few more segments here on the show. We will talk more Titans on the other side. We will also get into a hire for the Vols before the end of the show is over as well. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you. Always great stuff from Turron Davenport. Appreciate him coming in for most of the show today. Had to get out of here to get over to Titans practice. Titans preparing for the 49ers on Sunday. And the 49ers, again, I don't want it to sound like I'm saying they're completely overrated. Like, this is a team that's 9-4 for a reason. And as TD was going through, they've got a ton of talent on this team with McCaffrey and Kittle and Jennings. And, Purdy has turned into a good distributor of the football. But this is not a team that you look at and say, well, the Titans can't win this game. I think this is a game the Titans have to prove that they can build on a win, right? Again, say it way too much because it is still just completely astounding that the Titans have not won back-to-back games in over 3 years. They don't have to win this one, but just put together back-to-back winning performances. Does that mean you win? No. The 49ers might just out-talent you in the end, but you've got to be able to show up to this game and not get run out of the building, which has just happened way too much after the Titans have won a game over the last 3 years.
I know TD said that the Titans had a chance to win this game, and while I guess they do mathematically have a chance, I don't think it's very likely
any
whatsoever.
Given Sunday, and I guess the way I want to put it is like they have a chance because they have put together half decent performances over the last month. Would I say it's a 50% chance? Absolutely not. I'd say they got like a 15 to 20% chance to go in and win this game. But that's better than they've had in a lot of these matchups so far.
It's just so hard to say that it is a boost of confidence or things going in the right direction because it's one win out of the last, I don't know. When was the last time they won a game? It was the Arizona, which was October?
Yes, it was week 5.
Yeah. So it's so hard for me to say that, things are going in the right direction. Now, if they play like they did in Cleveland, which they have to do that in consecutive weeks, which they have not done yet so far, I could see them having a chance, but it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, Titans 2-11 now. They are still in the position to pick third in the draft, and with the Raiders and Giants, the two teams ahead of them, playing in week 17, the Titans, if they lose out, they are guaranteed to pick second. I think there might still be a win left in this team. The Saints game is the easy one to point out, but there's not a game left on the schedule the Titans can't win. But that doesn't mean there's a game left on the schedule the Titans will win. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Dustin from Hopkinsville, who just called in, says the 49ers are not overrated. They have a great coach who can win games when he has a limited roster due to injuries. And they have some dogs. I think we win this game Sunday due to doggish defense. I think Marcus Harris gets his first interception on Sunday. I could see it. Brock Purdy's given the ball away a good amount so far this season. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We got a couple more segments left on this Thursday. Always forgetting what day of the week it is.
I know I've been getting my days mixed up.
This has been a weird week for me. I don't know what it is. I have not really been able to lock in what day of the week it is, but maybe it's because Vandy doesn't have a game this week. And so usually I know when we play. Since we don't play, I don't know what day of the week it is. It is Thursday. We got a couple more segments for you. When we come back, the Tennessee Volunteers have made a hire at defensive coordinator. We'll get Parker's thoughts on that. We'll also take your thoughts on our phone and text line. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up. You're on 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly. Couple more segments on this show. Again, Chase and Big Joe will be coming up at noon, and they will be out at the Dunkin' in Nashville on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, so you can go check that out and drop off a stuffed toy if you have one. Again, all the Dunkin' locations are accepting stuffed toys for the toy drive. You can find more information at thegamenashville.com/toys. But Chase and Big Joe coming up at the top of the hour. Did want to get into the news yesterday from Knoxville that Tennessee has hired a new defensive coordinator. Penn State defensive coordinator Jim Knowles also spent some time at Ohio State, is going to be the new defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Volunteers. Spent 1 year at Penn State under James Franklin and is not being retained by Matt Campbell. Parker, you are a resident Vols fan. What are your thoughts on this hire?
I was completely caught off guard on this because I didn't expect this to be a possibility. The only name that I had heard being floated around was Ryan Walters, who's the defensive coordinator at Illinois, became the head coach at Purdue, and then went to Washington to be their defensive coordinator. And Washington had a really good defense last year. A lot of people don't know that because they probably didn't watch Washington's all the way out on the West Coast. They had a really good defense. So I would have been happy with Ryan Walters, but to go out and get the big fish in Jim Knowles, who I didn't know if Josh Heupel had it in him to fire one of his own guys in Tim Banks, but he finally did that. And you go out and you swing for the fences and you get Jim Knowles, who's one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. I think this is a home run hire.
Yeah, I think it's a good hire for Tennessee. There was obviously a lot of disdain for Tim Banks at the end of this season, especially the way it finished with Vandy's offense just going up and down the field in Neyland Stadium a couple of weeks ago. So they let go of Tim Banks and you bring in an established guy. Like that is a hire that, as a Tennessee fan, probably makes you feel pretty good because to get a guy with that kind of resume and reputation, you got to be one of the big dogs, right? Like you gotta be an attractive job for one of these guys. And Jim Knowles going to be the defensive coordinator at Tennessee moving forward.
And Tennessee's recruited well, and guys want to play for Jim Knowles. So they've recruited well along the defensive side of the football. That'll give Jim Knowles, things to work with. Now that he's going to have to develop those guys because a lot of them are not going to be, plug and play right away. Jermod McCoy declared for the NFL draft. I expect Colton Hood to do the same thing.
TD said that.
Some of those guys along the defensive front as well. So it's going to maybe take a little bit of time, but you'd rather take your time and be patient with Jim Knowles than another season with Tim Banks.
Right. So Jim Knowles going to be the new defensive coordinator on Josh Heupel's staff at Tennessee. And they have filled that big opening with a guy who has a lot of respect around the industry. So like that hire out there in Knoxville. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go back to our phone lines. Dr. Locke is called in. Dr. Locke, thanks for calling. What you got for us today?
Hey, Parker, I want to apologize. I haven't been running from you. I mean, we took the L. It was what it was. But I think it's in a long way. It'll be good. We needed to get tested. We talked about that earlier this week. We hadn't been tested. We needed that game. I doubt very seriously we're going to shank a 29-yard field goal again in the playoffs. That game should have gone to overtime, but it was a good game. Hats off to Tennessee and the new hire. You did get an ex-Buckeye, so
there you go.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong when you fish out of that pool.
Absolutely.
But I did not want you to think that I only call in when the Buckeyes are undefeated.
No, it's a thank you for calling, Dr. Locke. The Buckeyes last year, you needed that wake-up call against Michigan as much as fans might.
I think we got that again.
Right.
So I think we got that again.
Right. And for Ohio State fans, I'm sure another national championship can fill the void of not winning the Big Ten championship for sure.
Hey, if you haven't locked down Knowles, right? If you haven't locked him down, if the contract breaks up, you can always put like 11 blonde wigs on a practice team and go get Sharon Moore. He'd hit all of them.
There you go. Thanks for the call, Dr. Locke. Always good stuff when he calls in. And his Buckeyes, they're set up in a pretty good spot. The Buckeyes taking on the winner of A&M or Miami. I feel pretty good about Ohio State against either of those teams. Although, and take it with a grain of salt because last year the conference champions were automatically given a bye. So 2 of the teams that got byes were Arizona State and Boise State. But all of the teams that got a bye last year lost in their first game. So something to take note of. But Ohio State will take on the winner of Notre Dame and Miami in the college football playoff quarterfinals.
Notre Dame and Miami?
Sorry. Notre Dame.
I'd love a rematch.
The 2 teams that beat Notre Dame, Texas A&M and
if
Miami.
Notre Dame would be willing to play.
I guess that's why I had Notre Dame on the mind there. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We got one more segment on the show today. We'll hand it off to Chase and Big Joe, but we'll wrap up the show coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Final segment on this Thursday. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you. And, doesn't hit the same without TD here to wrap up the show on Thursday. Dreams and nightmares. But TD on his way over to Titans practice.
Going out the only way we know how.
Right, exactly. And great stuff from TD as always. And appreciate everybody chiming in throughout the show on our phone and text lines driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. A couple news and notes to wrap up the show. Tonight, Thursday Night Football, a game that at the beginning of the season, I kind of thought, maybe this is for the NFC South title with the Falcons and Buccaneers, but the Falcons 4-9. That's shocking to me, considering, the talent that they've gotten. I know Michael Penix got hurt, but I hate to say it. I think Raheem Morris is probably one of the more likely coaches to get fired when the offseason comes around. I think you're going to see Jonathan Gannon go. I think you're going to see Raheem Morris go. And, based on what we saw in Cleveland on Sunday, maybe Kevin Stefanski, I think those are probably some of the more likely spots to see a head coaching opening over the next couple of weeks.
No, I think you're right. I think Jonathan Gannon, Raheem Morris, it drives me crazy about the Falcons because their roster is too talented for them to be this bad. It is always drove me crazy with the Falcons. They should be so much better than this.
Well, in the Buccaneers, it's interesting tonight. Like, they started the season 6-2 and now have lost 4 out of their last 5, including a loss at home to the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. Maybe this is the get-right game they need. They're at home taking on a bad Falcons team on a primetime game. Like, can Baker Mayfield, who I know has been playing a little bit injured, can he start to figure it out? But is this a game that really moves the needle for me and I'm going to be tuning into? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'll watch some of it, but I just expect this to kind of be Buccaneers win like 24-13 or something like that. And that's the final. But we'll see. Buccaneers need it as they're trying to clinch the NFC South. Surprisingly, the Panthers are tied with them right now, 7-6 for both those teams. Not the team that I expected to be challenging Tampa Bay for the NFC South title, but that is Thursday Night Football tonight. Tomorrow on the show, Max Hers is going to join us as always. So for anybody out there dying for some Preds content, make sure you tune in tomorrow. We are moving him to the back of the show tomorrow. So it'll be 11 to noon with Max Hers as they get ready to go on the road, taking on the Colorado Avalanche, I believe, on Saturday night. Yes. Saturday
I believe
night.
I play for the Avalanche.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
We have made it a habit around here at 102.5 The Game of hiring, people who have the same names as NHL players with Parker Kelly and former employee Jake Wallman. But the Preds are playing well right now. And I'm excited to talk to Max tomorrow because we talked to him heading into that game in Carolina last week. He zoomed in and we were talking about, is this a chance to turn the corner? And then the Preds go out and they lose 6-3 to a very good Carolina Hurricanes team. I don't want to take anything away from Carolina. That's a good team. And the Predators didn't play very well on the road, but they come back 2 days later and they beat a Colorado Avalanche team who, they had lost 2 regulation games all year. Preds should have won the game in regulation. They give up the lead with 8 seconds left to tie it, but they're able to win it in a shootout and continue to add 2 points. And they've got the Blues tonight. That is a 7:00 puck drop. You can listen to pregame coverage right here on 102.5 The Game at 6 with Max Hers. And I'm excited to talk to him because the more wins the Preds keep stacking, the more you start to feel like they have turned a corner after such a slow start. And people were calling for Andrew Brunette to be fired, and maybe he does get let go at some point this season or at the end of the year. But you got to respect some of the fight from this Preds team to dig themselves out of the cellar. Now, they still have a very long way to go to get back into the playoff hunt. They are just out of the bottom spot in the Western Conference with 26 points, 1 point ahead of the Vancouver Canucks. But you win today against St. Louis, who they're only a couple points ahead of you. You slowly start to move your way up and climb the ladder. You still got a lot of traffic in front of you. Like, you can say you're 6 points back of a playoff spot, which doesn't sound insurmountable. I mean, it's a big hole to be in, but it's not insurmountable at this point in the season. But you also have 6 other teams between you and the Oilers who hold that last wild card spot right now. So it will be interesting to have a conversation with Max Hers tomorrow morning. And again, that is at 11 a.m. Usually Max is on with us from 9 to 10. He's going to be in the last hour of the show tomorrow. We will have Connor Newt in from 9 to 11. First time he's been on a Friday in a while.
For White Girl Friday.
I know. It's been
just
a while.
in time.
I had to take a couple of Fridays where we either didn't have a show or I had a game. So it'll be good to have Connor back on. Dustin from Hopkinsville asked the question on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Is it fool's gold? I watched my first Preds game in a while on Tuesday night because they are on a winning streak per se. I'm not getting excited. It's been in my head. Yep, they're going to do it to us in the management again. Play good enough to kick the tires. Another year knowing this needs to be busted up, in my opinion. But part of me wants to see if they scratch and crawl into the playoffs. Enjoyed the win, beating the best team in the league, and I believe they almost beat them a couple weeks ago. That can't be nothing, but buckle up. Here we go. And the trade deadline isn't for a while, right? Like, you've got the Olympic break coming up in a couple of months. You still have a few more months to figure out what this team is before you have to make any decisions on the roster. Does Ryan O'Reilly get traded? I know that he would fetch a pretty penny at the deadline. Do you maybe look at moving some of the bigger veterans just to get you off the books? I know no movement clauses are in there for Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault, and would somebody be willing to take on those contracts? I don't know. But you still have a while before you have to make those decisions. This team has an opportunity to play themselves out of being big-time sellers at the trade deadline. They're at least doing it to this point over the last couple of weeks. You look around the schedule, and have they now won 5 out of 7? That sounds right.
I think you're right.
5 out of 7. So, I mean, things are starting to even out a little bit, but again, you look at the standings, and it is a tough mountain to climb if they're going to get back into the playoff conversation. And there can't be moral victories with the moves that this team has made, right? I mean, you go out and you sign UC Saros to an 8-year extension. You go get Stamkos and Marchessault and Shea, and you run it back with them after last year and really don't make a whole lot of sweeping changes to the roster. You keep the coach. There can't be moral victories of, well, yeah, they started slow, but at least they dug themselves back into a respectable position in the standings. No, if Barry Trotz doesn't think that this team is going to make a playoff run by middle of January into February, you probably have to start selling off some pieces. Dustin from Hopkinsville says, if they keep doing this, you buy. I mean, I guess if they keep doing this, to what extent? Yeah, I mean, if they're winning 5 out of every 7 games, sure. But if they're just doing enough to keep it afloat where you're not completely out of it, I don't know if you can continue to try and push this thing when clearly the roster hasn't been good enough to compete over the last 2 years. So lots going on with the Preds. Again, they play tonight, 7 o'clock puck drop against the Blues. Feels like a really important one before you head on the road to take on the Avalanche again. You beat the Avalanche here in a shootout. Not going to be nearly as easy to go into Denver and beat Colorado on Saturday night. So you need to get 2 points tonight against St. Louis. Feels important if they're going to keep this trend moving in the right direction. And again, tomorrow, if you want more Preds talk on the show, 11 to noon, Max Hers from Preds Radio is going to be with us for the full show. We'll also have Connor Newt on from 9 to 11. Going to get into the Heisman talk a little bit more. That is the story of the weekend, at least football-wise, around town, is does Diego Pavia win the Heisman Trophy? Based on the polls that we're getting from The Athletic and On3 and some other groups, I believe USA Today maybe put a poll out there, this might be one of the closest Heisman races we've seen in a very, very long time. And if Diego Pavia can win it, bring the Heisman Trophy back to Nashville, obviously could have some big implications on Vanderbilt football. I'm sure recruiting, being able to pull out the Heisman Trophy and show it to some of these recruits can't hurt. So excited to talk about that tomorrow, along with the Titans and the 49ers. Been a very fun show today. Always appreciate Turron Davenport coming by and joining us, and make sure you follow along with TD as he is out there at St. Thomas Sports Park right now reporting from Titans practice. Coming up next, Chase and Big Joe. They are live from Duncan. If you want to go out there, say hello, drop off a stuffed toy, you can do that as well. Should be a fun show coming up next. Keep it right here on 102.5 The Game.